Hello and welcome to this special episode of the She is Extraordinary podcast. I'm here with my boys. I think Ben is not, my youngest is not really interested in participating, and that's okay. But I have my two older boys, not my altar boys, my older boys, Michael and Ryan. You want to say hi, guys?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah. So you guys, if you follow me at all, and if you're in my Faith Fuel Business Facebook group, or you're one of my clients or my students, you know how much I adore my boys. They're just so neat. And so I just thought we'd spend a little bit of time together. They're here visiting me at home here in South Carolina for July 4th weekend. So I really just, I'll be honest, I just wanted to brag on my kids a little bit and share you with them. So, and see how God, what I love most about my boys and what I adore most is how much they chase the Lord and how much they love him. And so I want to just ask a couple of questions of my kids. So I hope you get more of an understanding of who I am and who my kids are, because that's really why I do what I do, right? Like they are my everything. So, all right. So let me talk, Michael is almost 25 in September, and he is a worship pastor. So the thing I wanted to share about with Mike is what happened after he graduated from college. There was some, I would say, arguments we had, right, Mike?
Yeah, I guess to some extent. So I graduated in 2019 with a degree in music and worship from Liberty University in Virginia. And the first 6 to 8 months after graduating was just kind of it felt like a long period of trying to figure out what I'm going to do after graduation. And after about 3 or 4 months, there were a few opportunities in the Philadelphia area around where we were living at that point. And mom, wanting me to stay close, but also being willing for me to go, wanted me to prioritize the Philadelphia options. And I don't know, some of them for different reasons, they just didn't feel good. So we kind of had some discussions about what we should do or not. And I ended up going out to Chicago.
Okay. Yeah. And I want to get really specific here just to paint the picture. So we had an opportunity, like Mike's a worship pastor, but they had a teen, I forget what they call it. What do they call youth pastor option open? And of course it was in our home church, and everybody knows me and my boys. And they were like, Mike, it's almost like you had the job if you wanted it, kind of thing. And I'm like, Michael, you could live here. You could like work literally like a mile away. And he was just like, no, Mom, I'm not. So what did you do instead, hon?
Yeah, so I over those many months, I was just kind of reaching out to anybody I could possibly know. And I had done an internship in Chicago a few years earlier. And I reached out to a pastor there, and they got me connected with a church out there in Chicago called The Orchard. And I interviewed with them, and I've been there for the last year and a half.
Yeah. But hold on a second. That wasn't it. That wasn't what I wanted you to talk about. Like, I just want you to understand, listeners, about how, a lot of us are moms and we think we know best, right? And I'm like, Michael, there was this opportunity at the church, and then there was this other opportunity, I forget where now, but Michael was working part-time, because that's all that was available, at the local Levi's. And I'm like, this is what you want to do? Like, instead of a degree, you could have like a job in the faith. But it was just so neat because Michael stood firm against me, which was not easy. Was it, Mike? Or was it?
I mean, it wasn't easy in general. I mean, when you graduate college, you're ready to start working and doing what you've been trained to do. But I felt that it was best to wait a little bit longer within reason to see if there are any better opportunities. With the opportunities that I had before me, they were good, but none of them really felt right. So I just thought that it'd be better to wait a little bit.
Yeah. And before that, he had an opportunity while he was in school to go to Montana, which was totally like in the middle of nowhere, right? That was like, yeah. So anywho, so that was just really awesome. So the point there was Michael pushed back on me, and I didn't like it. but I said, you know what, maybe he's right. And I really doubted that he was right, but it ended up, son of a gun, he was right. So, listen to our kids. And you know what, though? He's like, Mom, it's not right. I don't feel from God that it's right. So I said, okay, I can't say anything. But all right, now I want to talk a little bit to Ryan. And then I want to talk about later about what it was like growing up and stuff like that when we all came to Christ
Yeah.
together, like in that same time. But so Ryan, you just graduated from Liberty. How about you tell a little bit about kind of what you have been doing this summer after graduation?
Sure. So a few months ago, I graduated from Liberty University as well with a pastoral leadership degree. So just a little bit different than Mike. And honestly, for me, it's interesting because not in the same position as Mike, but a similar position as he was out of college. Still trying to wrestle with specifically where I want to go and still just trying to navigate what it looks like to live well as an adult and as a Christian, and then ultimately to be a pastor who leads others. So this summer, I'm interning back in Pennsylvania at a church called Grace Valley Fellowship in the Phoenixville area. And it's been a great blessing. I've been able to learn a lot, getting some time with youth ministry, some time with a new believers class, some time with Sunday morning I get to preach once. So it's been a great opportunity, and I've been able to learn a lot, and I'm excited to eventually be able to be a pastor somewhere as well.
Yeah. And Ryan is living this summer with his little brother at my sister's house. Shout out to Joni. Woo woo. And so there they are in Pennsylvania, and I'm down here, and it's kind of sad for me. But it's really neat that I thought Ryan was going to go to seminary in the fall, and he got accepted, a couple of acceptances, right? But Ryan said, Mom, not sure. I think I'm taking a gap year. So can we just talk just a little bit about that? Because you feel like going to seminary is not quite.
Yeah, I think it's similar to what Mike was saying about just his convictions. I feel like for me, the typical path is to graduate from undergrad, go into seminary, become a pastor somewhere. It's kind of a streamlined process. That's the next step. But I think for me, I realized that still wrestling where I specifically fall theologically within the Christian faith and navigating what that would look like for seminary choices. But even more than that, just with my dad recently, obviously within the past few months passing away, realizing that frankly, even just through this internship, there's a lot of emotional things below the surface that are easy to mask with theology. And I realized that if I'm going to be a pastor, I don't want to be hypocritical and saying, hey, apply this theology to your life, but I'm not actually going to do that for myself. So the gap year for me, I think, is just navigating those two areas, just navigating where I fall theologically, continuing to navigate scripture, but then also navigating my own emotional health and seeking some counseling. So then I can lead people not just in teaching theology, but guiding people in their lives, because that's what Christianity is about, not just a belief system, but a way of life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's just so awesome. That's so great. All right. So yeah, I'm proud. Y'all know that. But let's go back to some fun, like kid stories. Or how about this one? This is not going to be easy, but I'll bring it up. Right. When in August of 2010, when me and your dad split up and we went to live in a townhouse, that was my favorite house ever. I think it'll be my favorite house because I shared it with you three. But so what was that time like? You were like, what would that be? 14, 12, and 9, I think is how
Something
old
like
you
that.
were. So what was that like?
Well, I think for me, it was just a big period of transition. And I would just say very disorienting. I remember feeling a degree of peace in the sense that there was a lot of yelling. So if I'm being honest, just having that no longer a consistent thing was peaceful, but then also just thinking about the logistics of living with you most of the time, but then living with dad sometimes, and how that would cause me to be easy. was challenging. But yeah, I guess that's what I would say originally. It was a great time moving into the townhouse, and we have a lot of great memories there. And some of my favorite years were definitely in that place. And
yeah, how about what was the neatest thing? Ben's not here, but he's here, but he's not in this room. But Ben, even at that age of 9, already loved video. So the kids would always be doing movies or doing something creative like that. And so what do you have any, like Boogle Schmoogle Dodson? You guys have to seek him out. What is that YouTube channel that he does? What was that? Mr. Lego. Okay,
Lego.
Mr. MR Lego ladies. You got to check out that YouTube and look for Mr. Schmoog. What's it called?
Boogle Schmoogle Dodson.
Boogle Schmoogle Dodson. Oh my God, just so cute. But
take that gun off
my
my head.
head. Yeah, that was the line from the show, which
Before-
sounds weird. You guys got to go watch it. It was just so cute. But so what else, Mike? Do you have any fun memories? Like we had this basement that was finished, and Mike had his drums down there, and it was like their rec room. And I just you guys spent a lot of time down there.
One thing that was fun, we're talking about videos, we in the summer, some of the best things to do in the summer was like do stuff outside. But one time we did a video, like a music video of Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol. And I like recorded the music, and then Ryan and Ben were like pretending to be in the band. That was pretty fun.
That was fun. I remember that.
And also in the same basement, we have the great memories when Mike taught me how to play the drums.
Yeah.
But then the funny thing was I only played it for about 2 youth group Sundays.
Yeah.
Before I got involved in football, and I kind of dropped it, but it was pretty fun. And yeah, there's a lot of memories from that house.
Well, around that time is when I had come to Christ, and then I brought you three along. Like we were going to church always, and I remember when Michael graduated high school, he said that was neat that we all four came to Christ at around the same time. So I'd love to talk about that. Like that was just a special time in our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a story I always tell. Is when people ask me about like my testimony or whatever, it always starts generally with a little bit about the beginning, and then like about a year or two before I came to know the Lord, that Mom started taking it seriously. So and then a year or two after me is when for Ryan. So it's it's great to have a kind of a shared story, shared testimony.
So what was that like? Did you, like, you guys were very active in the youth group, and I took you to church Sunday. So when we would go to church, just if you can think back, was that something you look forward to, something you dreaded, or just neutral? Like what was?
It's hard for me to remember back there. I would say especially early on, before I really understood what the Christian faith was about, more something that was neutral. It definitely wasn't something that I was saying, oh no, Mom's taking me here. But I don't necessarily think it was something that I was really excited to do. But it's hard for me to remember back that far.
Yeah, I know. But okay. Anything else on anything like about that whole time period and stuff? Because that was just a fun time. I think it's fun. It was a lot of growing. See, the kids later told me that they were struggling, because I felt like I asked the question, how are you doing, guys? Are you okay through the divorce and all that? And I always, if I remember, my memory is they said, we're fine. So whether I wasn't seeing the signs or whatever, it's hard. And, but life is hard. And they're seeing that now as they're adults, that things happen, like their father's death or Mom moving to a whole place, and, just the family moving on. It's exciting, and it can be scary all at the same time. Right.
Yeah. I think we all have a lot more respect for you, understanding the situation that you were in and how you cared for us and loved us. It wasn't an easy situation, but some of our greatest memories were there. And I think for me, one thing I enjoyed was sitting around the circle table having the chicken that you'd make.
Yes, I'll talk about that for a second. The chicken I would make.
3 meals. I always say to people that mom made 3 meals: chicken and potatoes, pulled pork and potatoes, and pork chops and potatoes.
Oh, and like ham string beans and potatoes.
That would be a rare treat.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right. Well, I just wanted you to get a bird's eye view to my boys. So as you look at the future, Mike, there you are outside of Chicago. What are you excited about?
That's a very broad question.
Well, I know you got a broad future.
Yeah, I'm excited about I guess like ever since the college season, the last like 6 years or so, just a lot of moving around. So I think I don't think I was really, if you include different dorms as different places, I don't think I was in one place for more than like 6 months. So it's good. It's good now to be in a more settled place and kind of moving out of college age and into more adulthood, just taking responsibilities and yeah, being more adult like.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know. And Mike was excited because the Chicago Bears might be moving closer to where he's at outside of town or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So the years you can look back and listen to this and then you can see if it came to fruition or not. That's awesome. Okay. And Rye, how about you, honey? What are you excited about?
I guess just excited for having the opportunity of being able to live on my own and really just create the future, with family and in church. And I think just being able to step in the next season of life. I think with Mike, something similar. At Liberty, you move around a lot, have a lot of different friend groups. And I think I'm really excited to be able to really build some deep friendships, be able to connect with people and live alongside of them. So I guess those would be a few things.
That's awesome. All right. And Ben, you're in the hall. Do you have anything to say, sweetheart?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Well, ladies, thank you for listening. And I hope this, I hope this was kind of fun to get a look into my boys and our relationship and kind of what they're up to. But if you enjoy this podcast, would you please take a moment, leave a rating and a review because it really matters. And also reach out to me anywhere you are at Judy Weber Co. And let me know if there's a special guest you would like to see on the show. I'd love to know your favorite podcast episode and let me know how I can serve you better. So thank you so much for listening and we'll see you next time.